Hey everybody, it's Don again from North of Detroit Outdoors. Thanks for joining me. So for anybody who's been watching my videos over the last couple of years knows that I've made some recent upgrades in the form of hunting gear, my hunting clothing, in the form of some Sitka gear that I purchased a couple of years ago. And I even upgraded my boots last year to the Lacrosse Alpha Burley Pros. Now what I also upgraded in the meantime is some camera gear. Now I haven't done a review of that yet, but I plan to do so soon. But with that new camera gear, it required that I purchase a new camera arm and the bracket that holds the camera arm to the tree. And because of the nature of these pieces, they're big and they're cumbersome. I had a really hard time fitting them into the pack that I've been using for the past few years. And anybody who's seen my videos have probably seen this pack. And I've tried, as many times as I could, as hard as I could, to find a way to attach this bracket to this pack. And I just haven't found a way to do it. I haven't been able to secure it enough such that I could carry it quickly and quietly through the field. In fact, I've climbed the tree 2 times now, and I've dropped this from 25 feet on both occasions because it just wasn't secure enough. So before I get started, let me just tell you about my old pack. This is made by Everest. And it's been a really good pack over the years. The problem is that it is a little bit too small. And over the years, there have been times I've wanted to fit more into it. And I really haven't been able to because it has one pocket here on the side that's pretty filled with gear. And then it has another smaller pocket on this side. But it's very thin. And it really takes up the same space, both pockets. So despite the fact that I like this pack, and I'm going to continue to use it from time to time under different circumstances, it just doesn't fit my needs as I continue to evolve through my hunting gear. So that necessitated the need for a new pack. So if you read the title of this video, you know what I've chosen. It's the Sitka Fanatic pack. And we're going to talk about that right here, right now on North of Detroit Outdoors. Okay, so here it is. Here is the Sitka Fanatic pack that I purchased. So when it comes to packs, there's so many different packs out there, and people swear by the packs that they have. And there are lots with very, very good reputations. But I pretty much knew when it was time for me to purchase a backpack what was going to be at the top of my list. And it was this pack. Mainly because I've been so impressed with the Sitka gear that I have. And the fact that they pay so much attention to detail for bow hunters. Every year I'm more impressed with it because I'm learning more about the gear and why it's made the way it is, and I'm finding that it fits my needs perfectly. So I knew pretty much that it was going to be this pack that I purchased. But I did have some criteria because Sitka has several packs that I could have gone with. But one criteria is that I wanted it to be quiet. Because, as a bow hunter, when those deer get close, you don't want anything making any noise to scare them off. And this particular pack is extremely quiet. I mean, if you listen to that, there's hardly any noise relative to this pack. And even if I snap that buckle, it's just much, much louder because of the type of material there is, because of the zippers that are on here, because of the buckles. It's just much louder. My second criteria is that I wanted something that was unstructured. There are some packs that have a frame inside of it to keep its shape. And I did not want that because typically the way I carry my packs is on the back of my Lone Wolf Assault Hand Climber. And because of that, I wanted it to be as collapsible as possible without the frame in it. And this one fit the bill there. And naturally, the third criteria is that it had to have enough room for all the gear that I have in this pack and the camera arm that I talked about a little bit earlier. So let's talk about this pack, and I can show you some of the features of it that I really like. So the thing that makes this pack so quiet is that they've removed practically all of the snaps and buckles that you typically find on your average backpack. And they've replaced it with these silent sliders. I don't know how else to explain what they are, but there's some hard material covered by fabric. And instead of snapping it or clamping it like you normally see, what you do is you slide these into the opposite side, and you see once it slides through, it connects by kind of securing it behind this hard material that's inside. I do wonder how easy this is going to be in the dark and when you have big gloves on to connect these and disconnect these. But I'm sure this is going to be something that I'll get used to over time, or at least that's the hope. So the pack comes with several pockets. The first pocket is on the top here, again, of the lid. So you just open it up and you have a nice, pretty sizable pocket there. And then on the inside of the lid, you have two pockets, one on either side, that you can put things there. So on the side of the pack, you see that there are several pockets here. At least there's one on this side, and then there are two smaller ones on this side. Now these are much shorter, maybe 6 inches or so. And then this one, maybe 10-12 inches. And they all have the same, again, enclosures. So you can use the first loop, the second, or the third, depending on how tight you want this top enclosure to be. And it's the same way on this pocket. You have the 3 MOLLE webbings, and then the 3 on this one as well. On the inside, let me open this up. There's a nice size pocket right here, and this almost looks like it was designed for a camera arm, because this looks like it's going to fit quite nicely right there. So in addition to this big pocket here, you have a big open enclosure here. On either side you have 2 bigger pockets. One is really deep, one goes about halfway down, and then on this side the same thing, one that's halfway, and then one that goes really deep. And that seems to be all the pockets on the inside. So I would have loved to see pockets in here that zip similar to these, but we'll just see how that works as it is. And on the back of the pack, you have your shoulder straps that are really nice and padded. And you have an enclosed buckle here, and you can just pull that. So quick release, you just lift up on this buckle here, and you pull it the opposite way. And they work really well. And you also have a sternum strap, and you have a couple of areas where you can choose to have this sternum strap, whether it's up higher or lower. And it seems to work pretty easily. So once you're up in a tree, you're going to want to hang your pack on either the tree itself or on your tree stand. And the pack allows you several ways to do it. There's a loop here on the outside that you can use when the lid is closed, or you can use the loop that's on the inside with the lid open. And it seems as if there's even another loop here such that you can have the lid upright. So just a few other features that you might find useful when you're up in a tree. Another nice thing about this pack is that on the outside of the pack, if I release these straps here, this opens up, and it almost has these little wings that open up. You can put a bow here, or perhaps a gun, or anything else that you might want to carry, and you can strap it down using these MOLLE type webbing here. And you can strap it through here, and then you can slide it through here. And then on the back, you have another strap that comes around that will hold the top cam of your bow or the idler wheel, so that it stays secure and it doesn't slip down. So some nice details here that again, if you want to hold your bow, I think that's going to be a good option for you. So one of the nice things about this pack is that it has this really nice big opening such that you can fit things down in there without struggling to do so. But at the same time, once you're done, it has this really nice drawstring so that you can cinch this up really tight and keep everything secure once you close the lid. So just another feature of the pack that demonstrates that Sitka continues to pay attention to detail. So anybody who's familiar with the Fanatic jacket and the Fanatic bibs will recognize that the material on the Fanatic pack is exactly the same. It has the high Berber fleece and it has the burr resistant material in different places around the pack. And it also comes in the same camouflage pattern, the Optifade Elevated 2. Now, the one thing that concerned me just a little bit is that the burr resistant material on the bottom of the pack is thinner than the Berber. And the reason that concerned me is that, with this bracket for the camera arm, you can see that there's sharp edges on it. And, if I were to drop this into the bottom of this pack, it just concerned me that these sharp edges might puncture this. So what I did is I took some indoor-outdoor carpeting and I cut it, pretty close to the size and shape of the bottom of the pack. And I've just inserted in here as a protective barrier. And, what's nice about it is just coincidentally that this fabric is almost like a Velcro. So when I put it in here, I have to kind of really muscle it in place because it just wants to stick. But once it's in place, it's great because it stays where it's supposed to stay. So that was just one of the upgrades I made just as a precaution so I didn't puncture the bottom of the pack. So I hope you enjoyed the initial overview of the Sitka Fanatic pack. Again, Sitka does a really good job of creating features on their gear that is really, really good for bow hunters, and I'm looking forward to this one because it does meet the criteria, or at least initially, that it's quiet, that it's frameless, and that it has room enough to fit all of my gear. So I believe this is going to be a really good upgrade for me over my old pack, and I'm looking forward to putting it through its paces over the next few months. And once this season is done, naturally I'm going to do another more in-depth review to tell you what it's like using this out in the field. So until then, I'm hoping that you're having a very safe and very successful season, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for joining me right here on North of Detroit Outdoors.